Hi, Kathy here from kathyskutekreations. Today is the final week and the assembly of Nothing Sweeter. So you should have this page right here printed out. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to put it together. Now I have the first two rows lined up on the table, and I will show you what you need to have this week to put it together. You're going to need the strips with the stripes, the strip with the flowers. These are the 2.5 inch. And then you're going to need the 3.5, this stuff here. All right, let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to show you what I've got on the table. Here's your first two rows. You're going to put a heart on each end. There's 4. And then you're going to put your black and white 9-inch squares. Just make sure that you put them in the correct order. And then we're going to sew all these together, and then be mindful of wherever your tips are. So you'll have tips here and here. Same with over here. You're going to want to mark them. Okay, let's get started. So what I did was I pinned these in sets of 2, and I started on the corner. So I did the first 2 blocks on the top left, then the first 2 blocks on the top right. And I pinned them so that I can actually see where the spot is that I got to make sure that I don't take the tip off. So they're not all going to be pinned the exact same way. Whoops. I thought I had that underneath there, but I didn't. Let's see here. So just take your time. I marked everything that I thought needed to be marked. And then I'm just sewing, taking my time. I want to make sure that the pieces that are folded over don't flip on me. And I'm using the friction pen, so it'll come off with the heat of my iron when I iron it. Try not to hit any pins. And then what I'll do is I will complete the first row by ironing the 2. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to chain stitch these so I have 4 of them, because remember I did 2 rows, the top 2 first. Now remember, if you got any kind of extra fabric, or you feel like you do, put that at the bottom, because the bottom will gather it in. So I did not go back and watch any of that Veronica Mars, all the ones that I fell asleep through. I watched some kind of weird movie about these kids that, I say kids out of high school. I don't think any of them went to college. Maybe 1 or 2 did, I'm not sure. But anywho, so you guys ever watched that program, Numbers? I don't know all the characters that are in it. I mean, that's an old show. But the guy that was supposedly the one that understood all the numbers and all that, the brother of one of the, I think the FBI agent, his brother, he was in this program. Didn't look the same. He looked different. I don't know the other people that were in it, the other characters. But this guy owned a photo shop, and he wanted to do, actually what he wanted to do is he wanted to do hunt paranormal or whatever. And apparently it wasn't only him, but so this guy off of the Numbers, whose name I don't know, I think it was Charlie, if I'm not mistaken. But he was like all down and depressed, and this guy was trying to get him out of his funk. And so the people that would come in, at the very beginning, it was showing you all the people that were coming in. And most of the people that were coming in taking pictures, believe it or not, were all these people who lost their dog or their cat. So it was all these signs, lost cat, lost dog, whatever. And then finally this one guy came in with to make signs, and it was no trespassing signs. And he asked him about it, and come to find out he had a big old barn. It looked like it was about to fall apart. And he said he used to hear noises and stuff in it, and he was afraid that kids were getting in there. he didn't want any kids in it. He said it was dangerous. And so he was going to put up these trespassing signs. Well, as soon as he said that he heard noises and things like that, that got this guy who owned this shop, that like piqued his interest because he's thinking paranormal is in there. So he gets all his friends together, and the one guy works at like I think it was a big box store, but I'm not too sure. And he got him to get all the equipment. They made a list of all the different equipment they would need, like night vision and things like that. Something to tape and record. So it was like a laptop and some other stuff, because I don't know what all those guys need. But anyway, so he convinced this guy to come. Then there was a couple of girls that ended up coming. So I think there was like 6 by the time it was all said and done. 4 guys and 2 girls. Well, at the tail end of this program, come to find out, the guy that owned this barn, hold on one second, let me get these in order so I can go ahead and continue with this row, these 2 rows. Okay, like I was saying, so the guy that actually owned this barn, come to find out, he was running a meth lab. They had like a, believe it or not, a basement in this barn. But shoot, this barn was like about to fall down, it looked like anyway. But like 3 of those kids found out about it and they ended up, getting tied up down there in the basement while those guys are doing stuff. And a couple of them are still looking for them. I think it was one of the girls and 2 of the boys were down there. So they were looking at their footage they had done. Oh, excuse me, I gotta sneeze. So they were looking at the footage. Well, then they realized they all got away from each other, and so they're looking for them, but they heard stuff. So they still were being real quiet. And then sure enough, they got in on them, come in the door. They thought they were sneaking up on them, but that didn't work because the guys knew that they were there anyway. Trying to find out where they were by trying to coerce, I guess is the word, coerce, whatever, the other guys into telling them where they were at. Of course, all over that barn, they're not going to know where they're at. Anyway, they weren't talking. The kids weren't talking. So finally, they ended up capturing the other kids, but one of them hadn't been tied up yet, or 2 of them, a couple of them hadn't been tied up yet, and they were trying to talk their way out of it. And the one girl said to the guy something about how he could get it free or something. He was going to end up going to jail and, all that kind of stuff. They wouldn't tell nobody because, that's what they say when they get caught. I'm not going to tell anybody, the whole thing. And the guy says, well, I can get it free right here. I'm making it. Well, I don't know, it was kind of like, I want to think this was one of those B movies, unless they've got something beyond a B, because, I hear all about the B movies aren't all that good. I'd be calling this a D movie because it was dumb. But anyway, and it didn't make sense at this tail end when they captured him and all that stuff. But they finally got away from him, and when they got out of the barn, I guess, I don't know what was going on, but it ended up burning, and then next thing you know, the whole entire barn was on fire. Alrighty, so for each end on this is the entire strip. I went to the right end, and I pinned it, because this is the side that had the tip I would lose, and I went to the left side, which had the other heart. That's the side that's going to have the tip I would lose. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do each end first, and then I'll come back and flip it over, and something's going on there. I'm not quite sure what happened, but it didn't. Oh, my fabric, I guess I didn't have it pinned well enough. So it didn't want to go over it. So let me clip this here and pin it this time, if I can. There we go. All right. Now I got to be really careful. Now, if it doesn't work, I can always come back the other direction if I have to. By the other direction, I mean come from this side and go that way. So I'll just take my time. And let's see if that helped any at all. Yes, it did. Alrighty. There we go. tried to mark all these little pieces that flip over to try to avoid all that flipping. Apparently I didn't do a very good job there. Okay, now I'm going to turn it around. Anyway, I don't even remember the ending of that movie. I don't even know if they went back to their old jobs or what they started doing. I was tired when I was watching it. And then, of course, I didn't realize that was on Hulu, by the way. So that when you go to the next movie and you let it just go to the next one, it picks out the same kind of movie. I watched I don't even know what the name of that one was. I watched like a couple minutes and I went, nope, not watching another one of them crummy movies. So anyway, I decided to start flipping. So I watched something else. I can't even remember what it was. But when it got done, the next program, I went ahead and I let it roll to the next program. Well, I thought that the next program was Castle, because that actor that's in Castle I like. But then it's, whoops, I gotta flip this over. Hold on one second. Just realized my pens are all upside down. All right. So I thought, well, heck, I'm just gonna go ahead and, just watch this. Well, then after it got going, well, the first thing I thought is that I had it selected on a movie. So it said it was like an hour and something. So I watched it, and then when it got done, I thought, well, that seems kind of weird. Well, then I see that it says there's a next episode. Then I'm thinking, well, I'm not sure if it was Castle. So I go ahead and I watch the next one. And so when the next one came on, it turned around and introduced the program. And come to find out, the name of the program was called Rookie. Now, that program I've never seen before, so I wasn't quite sure what it was because, like I said, I thought I was watching Castle. So I went ahead and started watching Rookie, and that turned out pretty good. So that's what I've been watching this weekend between doing my wash and everything else that I've been doing this weekend. And that turned out pretty good. It's very interesting. I think I'm still in season 1. I don't think it's gotten off of 1 yet. I thought it was a movie, so after the first, when it quit and then it went to the next one, I'm thinking, well, is it like 2 parts? Or that's when I found out it didn't go from one movie to another movie. So I'm not quite sure how it got on that, unless it was one of those things at the bottom when you're watching a movie. It says other things that you would like based on what you watch, that kind of thing. And that might be it, but I don't know. No clue. I don't know how any of that stuff works. I just went ahead and started watching it, so. Piece of dust. But I'm glad we're finishing up this week because I saw the picture of this and it looks really nice. I like it the way all these little squares come together. I'm going to have to do something that has a bunch of squares like that. I'm trying to think, what is the name of the one with the squares? I've seen them where you can make them 1 or 2 in a row, but I cannot think of the name of the pattern. Looks like I got a little crazy right here. Let me continue and go over that. And it looks like I slipped and went less than a 1/4 inch. I don't know how that happened, but it did. All right, there we go. Now I'm done with it. Now go ahead and finish these next 2 rows. Do them the same way that we did the first 2. And then we're going to connect all the rows. And then we're going to start on our binding strips. And I'll show you how we start that. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our black 1.5 inch strips. And we're going to sew them to the sides first. For some reason, I always go on the left-hand side. I don't have any clue why I do that. I just do it. Now, I would pin both my sides and do it, but for some reason, pins don't like me, and I was getting stuck constantly. So I quit doing that. And then you're going to want to watch the, let's see, when we get down to the next pin. Okay, not this pin, but the next one. That is where we could lose a tip, and we're not on the right side of the fabric. So what I did was I put my pin so that I have to go. I mean, I guess I could have marked it. Shucks, I never thought about that. Let me get a pen real quick and I'll mark it. So what I'm doing, this is the edge of the heart, so it'll have a little pin, a little tip on it. So my tip is right here. So I'm going to go across that line. And I'm going to take a look at it. And hopefully I have not taken it off. I'll find out here in a second. I'm going to go enough away from it so I can take a look. Yep, that's good. Didn't take it. And I think at the tail end of this is another spot to mark. That's it, and I'm just going to go down both sides, and then we'll be done with the sides, and then we're going to do the bottom next, the same 1.5 inch striped strip. Alrighty, so I'm on the last one, the borders. So what I want to tell you is after you get done doing the very first stripe one, then you're going to do the same thing that you did before. You're going to do your sides first, which is the, if you bought the kit, it's the one with the black with the white roses. Then when you're done with that, you're going to do the two sides and then the bottom and trim it. And then you're going to go ahead and do the very last strip. Now, it's been a minute, which means it's been a while, since I've showed you how to trim. If you want, and maybe some of the new people would like to see how I trim it, when I get done with this right-hand side and left-hand side, I will show you how I trim mine. It doesn't mean you have to trim yours that way. I'm just saying that I'm trimming mine that way. I backed off that camera quite a bit because I needed to put this quilt here on the table, and that's why it's so far away from me. I feel like I'm getting hoarse all of a sudden. I'm not quite sure why, because I haven't been talking. See if I can open my bottle here with water. I thought maybe I needed a drink, but I don't know what's going on with my throat. I mean, I don't. It doesn't feel like it is strained or anything. I noticed that out at work on Friday when I was talking. It got like that. I'm not quite sure why. But anyway, like I said, when I get down here with my right and my left side, I will put it up here on the table and I will show you the trimming of it. It's this, I do it the same way on all of my sides. So I went ahead and I ironed it. So I go along the edge of the quilt itself and the top up here. Okay, so I'm getting it all straight, as straight as I can anyway. And I'd rather it be more with a little bit of hangover than with none. And that's it. Whoops. I cut it off. And same with the other side. The only difference is that the other side doesn't have much, as you can see here. So I just lay my tool on it here, and I'll go to the edge of that, just like that. Even though it's hanging off here, it doesn't make any difference. I'd rather have more on this than on that. And then the other side is the same thing. If I want to do it from the inside, or the wrong side, whatever you want to call it, I would still leave it just like it was. And then I would be going on my 1/4 inch, which is the seam itself, not the fold right there, but the 1/4 inch seam. And cut it like that. And there's a little bit here also. Just a little bit. Actually, I don't even think it's a 1/4 inch, but there we go, like that. Since there's just so little amount. And that's it. Now I'm going to do the bottom and the top. And then it tells you now on these, the second and the third set, which is what I'm calling the, this is the second set right here. This is your first set, second set, and third. And it tells you to go ahead and attach. And let me show you on this one here. I don't have it done yet. But it's saying to take the strip, and to make it longer, you're going to take your extra strip and you're going to add to it. Now, you can do one of two things. You can either do it so that you go like this, and then sew it diagonal like that. This is not the right way to do it now. Just showing you what it would look like. Or you can take the 2 pieces, which is what I'm doing. I'm going to go ahead and cut the selvages off, and I'm going to do a straight stitch on mine and then just open them up like that. That's what I'm doing for this one, just so that you know. There's the finished quilt of Nothing Sweeter. Hopefully you can see all of it. Give me a like, a thumbs up, and make a comment if you would like. And I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching, everybody. Bye-bye.